I do a Facebook group called the Commission Model of Teaching, and I recently posted, this is a quote from Dorothy. She says, "It would to me be desperately important that you are comfortable enough with it," meaning Mantle of the Expert, "to give it a try, to just give it a try, because you are embarking on a journey that will change you utterly. It will change the way you collect material. It will change for you how you look at children. It will change how you see learning. And though you may be tired, you'll never be weary." So Dorothy was a drama teacher who emerged in the 1960s and 70s. She was known first for a form of what might be called participatory drama, improvised drama which explored situations and issues without working towards a performance. There was no external audience. She would often begin work by asking the group, "What do you want to do a play about?" And what developed was a kind of play in episodes, but without an audience. An example of this is from the BBC television documentary called Three Rooms Waiting. She was working with a group of boys in what was called a borstal, a kind of prison for young offenders, who wanted to do a drama about British prisoners of war in a German camp in World War II. In the drama, there was a stool pigeon, a spy, a German spy who was planted among the British prisoners. And at the climax of this drama, the spy was revealed, and he exposed an escape plan that the prisoners had been planning. It was very much like the climax of a play. And this way of working came to be known as living through, or man in a mess. Later, really from the 1980s onwards, she developed a system of teaching which she called Mantle of the Expert, and it's what she's best known for today. So the key Mantle elements are a fictional team, a fictional client, and a fictional commission. It's a method of teaching across the curriculum and meeting teaching aims. So you might, for example, be teaching about ancient Egypt, that is your curriculum subject. And the children might be people running a museum who are commissioned to prepare an exhibition about Tutankhamun. Now, as far as they're concerned, they are running a museum, but they are also learning a great deal about ancient Egypt. A Mantle project might last half a term, it can be short. There are schools where perhaps the majority of the teaching is through Mantle of the Expert, such as Woodrow School. Recently, I was watching a video of a drama which Dorothy did in 1978 in New Zealand, and it was called Sanctuary. This was her first visit to New Zealand. In her new book, Real in All the Ways That Matter, Viv Aitken argues that it was during her visits to New Zealand that Dorothy's thinking about Mantle of the Expert started to come together, started to consolidate. Sanctuary was a drama about a group of runaway children, this was the role that they chose to be in, who decide to set up and run a collective farm. It actually starts with Dorothy asking the children what they want to do a drama about.
Can make drama that has sense for us. Now, I haven't got any plans, because it didn't seem to me right. I fly all the way to New Zealand. I've never been before. I know very little about your cultures. I know very little. Well, I know nothing about how it feels to be a New Zealand person, because I only know how it feels to be an English person. So I thought we ought to start by saying, if we could choose anything at all to put in our drama, because drama's only people having one or two problems, you know, and sorting them out. If we could choose what to make our drama about, I thought you should be the people that choose. I thought I would just sit here and say, what sorts of things do you think would be interesting to make a drama about? Yes?
Children on the back streets late at night, you know, once you've got out discos or something and you've got nowhere else to go.
The homeless ones?
Yes.
I said the homeless ones, and you said there's nowhere else to go. Was I right in saying they were the homeless ones, or was it something else?
They have no choice. They've got nowhere to go. They, you know, their home is the city and stuff.
The home is the city, yeah. Is there any other suggestion?
Like in the boarding school, how it feels to be in the boarding school.
Yes. I suppose there we'd be exploring how quickly you grow up to be self-confident and able to look after yourself and get on with people. Yes, being free. What happens to you when you seek to give yourself complete freedom, if that's possible? So I'll put that one down. Giving yourself freedom.
Going overseas and not being able to communicate with anybody because you don't know the language.
Being an alien in a foreign land, yes. Now, I can make certain guarantees to you. I can guarantee that no matter which of these you choose, it will become fascinating and interesting. I guarantee that. So I don't really mind which you choose, but you will have to choose, because we cannot do 5 kinds of exploring all at once. All right, would you like to seriously now turn yourselves into one another and see how the feeling of the whole class is going? Test out, listen about, you know, and make sure that you sort of hear what people are saying on the outside. Can I stand back till you've chosen? There's a feeling over here that a lot of people are interested in the boarding school, but this lady here is very interested in the homeless ones. Yes, what about you? Giving yourself freedom. I wonder if it's possible to put the homeless ones and the giving yourself freedom together almost.
Homeless ones, because they're homeless, they get put into a boarding school. It could start off like the party and then go into
A sort of orphanage boarding school, you mean?
It could be any kind of institution where you have a figure of authority and you're really you're there and you haven't really anywhere else to go.
Yes. A place that has become a haven, a temporary haven that some people might stay in forever. Now, let's stop and take an inventory of what we've got and whether we still approve of what we've got and where we're going to go with it now. We have a group of people who, for some reason, had nowhere to go. City people. I get the feeling some of you had run away from home, some of you didn't seem to have any homes, and you found yourselves sanctuary. But it's a bit tenuous because I can't guarantee being able to keep you here, because I don't know if the funds are going to come. Now, how do you see this developing?
We all have talked to find out how we're going to raise money and all that.
Do you mean you're going to look at your earning power?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do for a very brief moment is just turn into a sort of portrait. As if instead of being Mrs. Heathcote here, I was the picture of Mrs. Heathcote. Right? And Mrs. Heathcote, of course, is not Mrs. Heathcote who came from England. Mrs. Heathcote is the person who runs Sanctuary. So you say what you like about me. Do you see what I mean? Right. So it's Mrs. Heathcote that runs Sanctuary, and she's a painting on the wall. If I give you milk and porridge and bread again, as you eat, do you think you could turn it into an exploration of how you feel about having to stay in this place?
Isn't going to be boring if they can stay till duty every day?
Doesn't mean nothing. But you wonder if she's going to let us stay here.
What are we going to do today? We haven't got any money to pay him. We'll just go out and work.
What if we're not allowed?
What if we're not getting paid?
You might not be allowed. How can I trust you to go out?
What about the small kids if we go to work?
We told the little kids to come with us anyway.
You do it then one day. And your brothers and sisters. You're allowed to go. We need food.
We need somebody to care for us. At the Lowland School.
Okay.
We need a good boy run away from home.
You're not
Have you
helping.
had a good breakfast? Have you managed to sort your problems out?
Yes. Could we sort of change the situation? I was about to ask, I mean, have you got, you're a sort of matron of Sanctuary, have you got any more, a little bit more money so that we might be able to establish a sort of, to be able to sort of see if we could cultivate the youth and sort of be able to sort of try and make Sanctuary self-sufficient in its sort of, in terms of growing things and sort of taking care of animals and that?
I certainly have enough land if you're prepared to grow your own food. Are you really? Do you know much about it?
Yes. But you see, the thing is, Sanctuary is that, you see, if we do stay here, you see, at the moment you're short of money for the present time, and you see, it would be a long-term thing. It would be another season till we
It would be a long-term commitment.
till we could
Well,
actually.
I could borrow perhaps. I think perhaps the convent would lend me. You know, they were going to lend me your breakfast. If I did get money, are you prepared to make the kind of commitment that will make Sanctuary into a place where people can come
Like a
and
commune.
work for their living? All right. So far, this morning then, we have made a sanctuary, and we're going to develop it into a farm.
And in the Sanctuary drama, the children were not in the frame of experts at first, but rather they chose to be a group of young people who might be runaways or homeless, and who wanted to find independence in the adult world. And as they created their sanctuary, they became a responsible team, making decisions on, for example, the division of land into different parts for crops or animals and so on. So the drama it's a moment maybe when Dorothy was shifting from her early work which was called Living Through Drama, to Mantle. As a system, Mantle of the Expert is a way of giving children agency and responsibility. Sanctuary, on the other hand, was a drama about a group of young people claiming the right to agency, to autonomy. A newspaper article at the time, nevertheless, reported the children felt they had a real reason to learn about the skills their area of responsibility required. They wanted to become experts. The drama ended with a visit by a teacher in role as a sister from a neighbouring convent who had loaned the funds to start this fictional collective farm. The children had to explain and demonstrate to her what they had achieved. This is a strategy that Dorothy used frequently to reinforce children's learning. They teach others what they now know. One teacher observed that the group had gone far beyond normal drama.
Sister Catherine, All the members of the Sanctuary Trust are ready now.
Thank you very much.
I hope you haven't been too cold in there.
No, it's been very pleasant.
They've suggested you sit here, and so that you can see them all. And these two groups are prepared, whichever you'd like to see first, to explain their part of Sanctuary.
Thank you. We're in the opposite in the left corner, and we plant chrysanthemums and orchids and other flowers. And to make the soil more soft, we've got to mix 2 buckets of oak leaves and half a bucket of sawdust and half a bucket of sand. And we mix it all up in a great big pot, or sort of like a pot, and then we put them in 6-inch pots, and we cover it just at the very top with peat.
And once we've got the peat in the 6-inch pots, we get the blossoms, the bulbs, sorry, and they're about 4 centimetres. And
Thank you, Susan.
they're about 4 centimetres, and we put a hole just in about 5 centimetres. Then the little stem, short top, put soil on it.
Here, this is Ingrid, Maria, and Arpila. We are going to show you a demonstration of how to plant tomatoes. When we planted tomatoes, they are 45 centimeters apart. Why it's apart? It's because so it won't get tangled with other vines.
Excuse me, would you like to see a chicken system? Now, how old is that one?
It's very old. Until then, it's on a very special diet and probably Is this a special diet for all day-old chicks? Of bread and milk?
Hammered into the hoof to keep it in place. And these nails aren't ordinary building nails, especially made for horses' hoofs. The horse can't feel this because it's got no feeling in its hoof, and it's like our nails.
We have to hold the reins because sometimes when he misses the nail, the horse jumps back a bit.
Oh, so sometimes there is some pain for the horse by accident.
Well, at the beginning of the week, we had to buy all of some sheep, which cost us $50. We bought 50 sheep. And we bought posts and wire to put up fences. And at the end of it, the wire, we got a $25, we got them off $25 cheaper because half of them were offcuts from other farmers. I've come to tell you about shearing sheep, and the season for shearing sheep is December and January because that's when the wool comes out the finest and much more wool. And when you shear the sheep, it sits there sort of nice and calm. And over here, I have 2 of the shears.
These are just mock-ups, you
Yes, I realise
this.
Yes, they shows them today.
This blade is for shearing sheep that haven't got such strong wool.
Yes.
And this one is a tougher blade, which you could use for lambs that have really got tough wool, and so that it will cut fine.
How long does it take you?
Well, it doesn't. Well, I'm not a professional yet, but it takes professionals say about 2 minutes or something like that to shear one sheep. And you've got to shear the sheep so that when you shear it, the whole coat's got to come off in one piece. And if it doesn't, the wool's ruined. It's no good for selling.
So it's very responsible.
Lots of care.
It'll take about 10 minutes for me to shear one sheep.
Yes, but you do get it off in one piece.
Yes. And under here, under the joint of the legs, it has a nerve, and when you push it, the arm comes out straight for you to shear the wool off. And my job is to look after the sheep and give them a lot of weed, grasses, and water. looking at their teeth and counting how many they are. If they're over 3 years old, well, they're going to the sort of place where they keep all the old ones and keep all the young ones. Yeah, and I have to make sure that they get a lot of food every morning so they can be still alive and they can eat a lot.
And first I'd like to tell you about what we, how we split some money. First thing we bought is not only for us but for people like the tomato house needs cement. With cement, the total cost of cement was $36.
So that you consulted with the people who were involved with the tomato house to find out what their needs were.
And these are vines we planted all in rows of 10 all the way. And
Who's the black grapes?
and also we will do a demonstration of how we keep our vines.
It might be possible to give this vine a special name, seeing as Sister planted it. What do you think?
God's plant.
God's plant.
Official vine.
Official vine.
Cabarina.
Catherine. Any other suggestions?
Convent vine.
Convent vine.
Sister Brown plant.
Our Sister Brown plant.
Remembrance vine.
Remembrance vine.
Take a vote on that.
We should take a vote, I think. Are there any other suggestions before we do?
I reckon Sister Brown should choose a name.
You think Sister Brown should choose the name?
I reckon, again, that God's vine would be good because we could say when the people come to visit, well, this is God's vine and one of his guardians planted it.
This is God's vine and one of his guardians planted it.
I like remembrance, but when people come around you can say, it's a plant that I remember most when Sister Catherine Brown planted it.
Could I have a minute, sir, do you think? Not a decision I can come to straight away. No. Well, whilst you think, sister, may I show them the envelope that you brought?
Certainly.
Thank you. This is the cheque. She has brought us the money. I hope she chooses soon, don't you? You think God's plant? We're all getting very anxious. Aren't we?
I don't think I've ever come to a harder decision. But words say things to people. They do to me. And then I thought what someone said, that when you look at the plant, you will remember things for yourself about that day and about Sanctuary. And I've decided that remembrance, it was one word that people could remember, and it would say something very personal to them.
Thank you very much, sister.
And this is for Sanctuary.
And this is to help Sanctuary develop and grow.
On the video of Sanctuary, the children themselves are invited to look back on the experience. One child observes, "I was happy that it wasn't a game. It was something, you know, that really made an impression on our lives." Others agree that it seemed real to them. And these are some of their comments.
I was happy that it wasn't a game, it was something, you know, that really made an impression on our lives.
It wasn't a game, it was real. As Kelvin mentioned, there's a lot of you have stressed this, haven't you? What made it so real for you? And don't answer that, I think.
I think because when you can sort of act instead of, just talking about it and showing it. You can do what you want. You just find your own words. You don't have to do what anybody tells you.
People didn't laugh, did they? They believed it along. That made it seem real.
The thought of us choosing what we wanted to be and expressing ourselves.
We felt she made us feel wanted and responsible of the thing, actually looking after the teachers around the assembly.
It seems so real because you had to do things like in real life that you have to do, like doing illegal documents and this. It seems so real like that.
You see, what made it real for me is that she took it so seriously and never ever was a smile sort of flicking across her face when we said something. And, her seriousness and her sort of trust in our capabilities to be responsible for what we did, you were forced, and you forced yourself to to take it seriously and to believe in it.
I liked it because she accepted us as we were, not as just children or pupils of a school. She gave us freedom that you don't usually get in school, where we can do almost anything and all that.
I found it real because I could really feel and believe what was happening around me as somebody was entering to the farm. I felt it really good because being on a farm is something that everybody does together. And that's what I felt like since the past few days.
It sort of gave us a sense of responsibility in choosing our own jobs.
And there's a sense to me that every Mantle of the Expert project is a kind of sanctuary, a space apart where children are given the agency, the responsibility to run something for themselves. And indeed, I think this is surely a major reason why Mantle appeals to young people, because it gives them the freedom that you don't usually get in school, but also because it is something that everybody does together. This is a chart by Roger Hart. It's about children's levels of participation in the classroom. And we go from children being told what to do, children are consulted but informed, and it goes right to the top where you have child-initiated, shared decisions with adults. And really, on Mantle of the Expert, it's the top of that ladder that you're aiming to be.